Hey, welcome back from the break. We have an exciting episode today. Today, I have a person who has been my friend for a very long time. He's reliable. He's a person that I trust. He's a person that is consistent. He's a person that's driven. He's a person that loves hard in the same way that I do. And he's also one of the best young talents in terms of coaching in the United States of America right now. Today we have on the couch with us Coach Johnathan Saxon. Hand claps for my man Sax.
Man, happy to be here, man. Happy to join you on
Welcome.
the couch. Happy to be here, man. On the couch hanging out today, man.
Yeah. Thank you, man. You're one of the people who I told in the brainstorming stages about the couch, and I told you, listen, man. Once I get this thing rolling, I have to have you on the show, and you're here.
Hey, man, I'm excited, man. I got some big shoes to follow behind you and Chanel and Amaya and then Nick before that. So I gotta hold up expectations, man. Gotta keep it going.
No. I already expect you to come through, man, like you always been doing. It's no words on that end. So Sax, listen, in on the show, when I have a guest on, I always tell them, listen, we have to start from the beginning because I love a good story, right? So we're gonna do the same thing with you. You down with that?
Oh yeah, I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Okay, so tell me about young Jonathan.
Young Jonathan, not a care in the world. Just wanted to be outside running wild. Uh, just want to get to recess or anywhere to be outside to play. Didn't worry about anything. Didn't matter the venue. Wanted to be somewhere running around. I could have had a full blown suit on at a wedding or banquet and was trying to be outside running around or running around through the banquet. So, it came to a point in time where, man, my sisters and their friends talking about Jonathan need to be on Ritalin. Adolescent years, man. Adolescent years, man, you had a care in the world. You just wanted to run around and play, man. So, but
Yeah,
we're from the big city of Orangeburg, man. Only one burg matters, man. Just everybody got to know
the metropolis of
the
Orangeburg.
big city, man. So both parents were educators.
Mhm.
One of my older sisters, Jennifer, she's the assistant AD at Ole Miss. My other sister, Jessica, works for Swissport in HR. So young Jonathan has some big shoes to follow.
Yeah, Sax, you have one of the sweetest families I've ever been around, and of course, we've hung out with each other on many occasions. Graduation party and playing basketball and all this stuff, type of stuff. Your family, I love them, man, and they've always welcomed me with open arms. So I can see why you're a good guy, even though you needed Ritalin when you were young. Okay. So at what point did sports start for you?
Probably since I was born, but probably about that 5 years old, 6 years old mark. Uh, just getting exposed to different sports, football, basketball, baseball, which was t-ball at that time. Even a little bit of track. You churches used to always do like little track events, just get everybody together. So probably about 5 years old, just got exposed to different things, different sports or different activities.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that uh, we were teammates in high school. We played basketball together. A lot of people don't know you got a ratchet, man. You a nice little stretch four. You got some size. You could step out and shoot the jumper. A lot of people don't know that you really get down on that basketball court, man. So for your players who think they can hoop, man, you got to tell them, man, that listen, I used to go too.
Man, I try to tell them, but time has kind of taken away from me. I was out there playing intramural basketball for a little bit. Haven't played in the past 3 years, but I get out there, throw up a couple shots, show them I can still do something. And that's when I play hard if we're playing one of the football teams. So that way, I can go out there and bang around a little bit. But then I tell them, I said, listen, all I need is 5 minutes a half. If it's 20-minute half, just give me five and I'm good. So, but keep people
Listen, man, I go ahead.
people, tend to forget that they think football coaches just play football. We had other lives too. So
Yeah. Listen, man, about 5 years ago, I'd take you with me wherever and who, but now I know I need to have some ice packs available. Maybe we start off with some icy hot, some Tiger Balm,
I need
whatever you
at
love.
least I need at least a 30-minute warm up. That's what I need. A 30-minute warm up. The
Yeah,
first
foam roll.
the first game may be a little slow, but the second game I'll be ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, foam roller, all of that type of stuff. That's where we are now. But
Oh
a little
yeah.
while ago, you still had it going. All right, so in high school, you played basketball and you played football. What what made you prioritize football? What made you say, all right, I'm gonna play basketball, but football is gonna be my calling card?
Probably the attention I was getting early junior year, later on. It wasn't big attention, but just having different people, especially that spring going into my senior year, we was in Dr. Glover's class. Middle Tennessee State was calling. I was getting letters from like different schools, and it's just interest letter. We just saying we notice you. It's nothing like the guys, big time guys. You get those letters, and we notice you. You're on our radar. Blase blase, but you still have to do more to get that offer. So just kind of
Mm-hmm.
prioritizing the information I was getting from other schools and how they were sending me stuff, which I still keep. I still got a shoebox full of every letter that I have gotten from.
Oh wow, you still got them?
Still got them, man, in the closet. But the reason
Oh
I'm holding on
man,
to them, so if I have a son and daughter or daughter that wants to, get into sports or want to play, just have something I can show.
got
But
that reference.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just the attention I was getting, man. Having coaches call me going into that senior year, getting pulled out of class in the spring, so people can put the name with the face. So that kind of made me prioritize it because again, there's not many post players who are 6'4", playing down low. Even though you can shoot the jumper, but you got to be able to do more.
Yeah, you definitely won't be a stretch forward these days.
No,
you
nowhere near.
know, when we were in high school, yeah,
Yeah,
that could work, but yeah. No, man, but I remember that time. Of course, we shared that time together, but what did high school football mean to you? Like, what did you learn? Like, what was that process for you? Just kind of going from point A to point Z.
and one more thing, I don't think people really realize how far back we go. People realize me and you were teammates in city league football, then middle school
Yes,
basketball, and then high school basketball.
yes.
So it's just
Were
different.
you on the championship team?
Yes, I was.
Okay, all
Yes, I
right.
was.
So we shared some championships together too.
Yeah. So, but nah, man, high school football meant everything because it was an opportunity for you to get a full ride. Because you really don't. When we get to high school, ninth and sophomore year, we're not thinking about scholarships. That junior year, we
No.
know that was the year to get on people's radar. So it meant everything because at the end of the day, we want free money. I want to find a way to get my education paid for free so we can walk out of school out of debt, not in debt at all.
Yes.
So it meant everything. And just those connections you make with people from, going to different camps. I remember Coach Felder took me, Zach Middleton, and Derek Fraser down to the University of Miami's camp. He rented a car, and we drove from Orangeburg,
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina, all the way to Miami, Florida. And
Wow.
that's when Alicia Keys had her song, I Won't Tell Out. And Coach Felder was in the car, kept singing it the whole way down. But that's where, and many people don't notice, I didn't realize this till like later on when I got to college. I was in the camp with LaShawn McCoy, all pro running back.
No.
He was at that camp with us. Because,
Shady.
listen, I didn't know who he was at first until we were getting ready to play South Carolina my freshman year. And, that's when Zach transferred back from Navy. Zach was on the team. Zach was like, that's my man that went to camp with us. Like, nah, that's not him. But they showed the picture. I'm like, LaShawn McCoy, he was at the Miami camp with us. And I just remember they had him go against every top player in the state of Florida. And he did all of them dirty. Cat from up north coming all
Yeah.
the way down to Florida, doing them dirty.
I think he's from Pittsburgh,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yep. So
Yeah.
just
If
those
you hear him
experiences.
talk about it now,
Oh,
Shady McCoy's like, yo, I kill all of them, B. I kill,
but Rob, he did
I
it
kill
though.
all of
If you go like it's you got a lot of cats out there who say they played and they did this and did that, but they ain't got the film to do it. He got the film to put out
Yeah.
there. I did this to everybody from here, boom, 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 boom. So, but nah, that it just meant everything, man. It's just the money. You want to get free want to get free money, man. It's opportunity. You
Yeah.
know, that scholarship can write the check for your family, for yourself, and pretty much generational wealth. Just that school
Yeah.
alone.
After high school passes, what you signed with South Carolina State University, right?
Yep, yep.
Could there have been any other school besides South Carolina State?
If Middle Tennessee State would have offered, I would have jumped all over that. Because again, growing up in Orangeburg, you know, our goal was to get out. Because you know, not many people make it out of Orangeburg. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Correct.
Not many people make it out.
Correct.
Whether it's just you love being there or you just getting some stuff you can't get out of. But Middle Tennessee State, and for the longest in the back of my mind, and I remember telling my mom and dad this when Coach Stockstill and Coach Watts kept talking to me, kept hitting me up. I was telling my mom, like, since they offer, I'm gone. Like, that's, you know, they were the biggest offer at the time. But they just kept talking. Coach Blanchard and Coach Pugh came by and saw me. And I already knew Coach Pugh because him and my dad coached together at South Carolina State back in the 80s. So I already had that rapport. So when they came to the table talking, this is what we're going to do, I was like, shoot, I took the visit. I was like, let's do it. And then with, I had like John C. Smith, Newberry was flirting around, Presbyterian. Uh,
Mm.
but South Carolina State just made more sense to me at the time. Why sit around here and wait for this school who's not doing anything for me? To where when Coach P told me this is what we're going to do, I was like, it's no brainer. Mom went to school there. My grandmother got a master's there. My sister actually went to school there too. And Nick was there, so I already had friends there. And then when I actually took the visit, it felt like a
And it could have been Rob.
it could have been Rob. It could have been all the three amigos back together.
Oh
So
man.
it was when I got there, man, it was like a whole different town. I didn't feel like I was home.
Wow. You know what? We just made a joke about it, right? Like I could have been on campus with you guys. I talked about it in the first episode. Um, I verbally committed to South Carolina State University, and dude, we were this close to all of us being in the same place at the same time. Of course, we would have been doing different things. You would have been on the football team. I would have been on the basketball team. Nick would have been a scholar.
Yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but all of us would have been in the same place. And it's interesting to hear that you said, listen, I was in Orangeburg, but I was in a different place. You know, that's it's
It,
really interesting to hear that.
culture shock, man. It was my class. So when I got to state the year before, they had people staying in hotels because that's how much enrollment was over. When I got there,
Wow,
enrollment was over. People still had to stay in hotels and catch the shuttle to school. So it was
that's
like,
crazy.
man, you can be on campus, but you felt like you're in a whole other city because there's so many different people from so many different backgrounds and so many different areas. You had your DC crowd, you had your Charleston crowd, you had your Florida
Mm,
crowd, you had your Greenview crowd, Greenville crowd. So you had so many different people like just coming together,
yeah,
and you didn't feel like it was there because it was always something going on campus, whether it was a party in the plaza, a party in Dukes, and everybody knows K Building. I laugh and joke with my players till this day. It's like, Coach, man, we had to do this and that on campus. We threw a party and it looked like Project X. I'm looking like, man, that's old, man. We you know we always done that, you know, at the dorm
been
room,
there, done that, young fella.
and that's you know it was just that's how I felt, man. Because anytime I just remember when T White, Tony White would pull up his truck. It can be if it's a basketball game on Saturday or Friday or Monday, the K Building parking lot after that game for the let out would have been slam packed. If it's a party in the gym, the let out in K Building parking lot, slam packed.
Wow. So it's so you giving me some of your experiences. Tell me about your freshman year, like stepping on campus. You get on campus, you have this HBCU experience, you got your football experience, and you also have an experience as a student. Tell me what it's like for you coming from our high school going to this new world as you described it.
So a lot of people don't realize that, you know, what they should realize. OW Orangeburg Wilson is predominantly black, so I felt it was an easy
Yes.
transition classroom wise, but the work wise, you know, you had to adjust. There's nobody there. Hey, did you turn this in? Turn that in. All it is, y'all turn your stuff in. You get a zero, you get A or whatever you did. Uh, it was a big adjustment. I failed my first ever class in life in college. Uh, I got in which a D is technically not failing, but you had to retake the course. And I remember the teacher, and I'm not gonna name the teacher because it's somebody that we actually went to school with. Her children went to school with us, and you know who I'm
Oh.
talking about. You know, so she said she was like I was 3 points away from a C. I'm like you couldn't give me is any work I can do to get the C? Like I came to class every day, you know. But then
Should I bring you some donuts? Like what?
something just what can I do to get the C? Like I'm just trying to keep my 3.0, keep my other academic scholarships.
Yeah.
But the experience was eye opening. I had a lot of experiences. I can't say because I don't want to get a book thrown at me right now while we're talking.
Oh,
I got my
okay.
I got me a
Okay.
little audience in here too. You know, I got my
Okay.
fiance
Okay.
over there. But nah, man,
All right. All
it
right.
was a great experience, man. It was that freshman year taught me a lot. Just kind of being more organized, time management. If you're having an issue in the class, to speak up about it. Don't wait to the end to where somebody can't help you or you can't get anything done. But that
What's it like in the locker room?
man, let me tell you something. You might as well call it a comedy show. You know, in the locker room,
Okay.
some things you can't speak about. You know,
Of course.
but it's a comedy show. I tell you this: before practice, you'll see you may have a full blown comedy show. Somebody cracking on each other, people talking trash. Just you know how brotherhood is. Just the whole camaraderie
Yeah.
of guys coming together and gelling as one. But it was 9 out of 10. You saw your full blown comedy show. My freshman year, you didn't say anything as a freshman. You had to earn your keep. When
Of course.
you start
Of
logging
course.
some hours on the field, then you can talk. But full blown comedy
So
show.
so so I did some research. I mean, I was around for that time period, but I also did some research just to kind of bring it back, right? Because I've had a couple concussions, so I need to make sure I need to study. But you guys had a very successful run during your time at school. You won some championships, correct?
Yep, 3 of them in a row.
Okay, y'all got the trifecta. So for you as a young player, was the culture already set when you got there, or did it kind of find its way as you got through it?
So the culture was already set, man. You had so many NFL players and Hall of Famers come through there before you. The culture was already set when I got there. You know, anytime you build in a team, you got to get a couple few pieces that can take you over to the top. But the culture was already
Yes.
set. You know, South Carolina State is built on grinding and, you know, like the kids say now, getting out the mud. You know, so the culture was already set. You know, when you set foot on campus, that logo, that name, those colors, it means a lot. It's not just a name. It carries weight from guys from the '70s to the '80s to the '90s and so on. It carries weight. So the culture, we knew we had to uplift because you didn't want to go and go in that parking lot after the game where we lost to this person, or when you come back to a
Yeah.
homecoming, oh man, we went 7-4, but did y'all win the conference? You know, where you
You
say,
definitely get the side eye.
so the foundation was there and the legacy was there. You know, so we just had to. You can't. I say this to kids all the time. The foundation is there, and when you try to come in there and change the foundation or a legacy, you end up weeding your own self out. That foundation is
Yeah.
laid, and like one of our former players, Kobe Durant, said at the Celebration Bowl, he's just like South Carolina State's a winning program. From its history, from Coach Jeffries to Coach Pugh, it's always been a winning program. So the foundation's been
Hmm.
there for even before either one of us was born. So it was just kind of
Yeah.
just keeping that tradition going and that legacy going.
Okay. Yeah. So what? All right. Looking back, so we know where you are now. Looking back, what are some things that you could take from playing college football, like actually being in the mix, getting busy, being in a winning culture? What are some things that you can take from college football?
Man, some things I can take from college football, man, is the biggest thing I took from it was I became more of a grinder after going through that experience. Time management and being more organized are the three things that I I've taken away from it. I sometimes I get kicked out of the office because so much of that drive and that passion of mine to not let people down, not let myself down. to continue to just grow and make myself better. And I understand no matter what, job I take in my future, I'm still a South Carolina State grad. And when people see
Yeah,
me on whatever platform, hey, he's a South Carolina State grad. So continue to make
you can be
alumni
proud of that, man.
always. So just that, man, I take away from it just the grind, time management, and being more organized.
Okay. So I mean, this is a question that I like to ask guys because everybody doesn't make it to the stage, if you want to say. But when did the moment come where you said to yourself, I'm probably not going to the NFL, or did it even come? And before you answer, I'm asking because there was a point in time where, dude, like I was about to declare for the draft after my junior year. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? The NBA tells me no, I don't get drafted. I don't hire an agent, like whatever. Like who, these the reason why I wanted to do it is because my family and we talked about it. It was like, hey, you had a pretty good year. Just throw your name in the draft. What's the worst that could happen? I was really about to enter my name in the draft my junior year. However, after my senior year ended, I was just like, all right, I'll go to work. So did that time ever come for you where you said, I'm probably not going to the league?
Oh yeah, my junior year, I was playing but wasn't playing a lot. So it didn't bother me that I wasn't. Cause I kind of had my mind made up what I wanted to do. I knew I either wanted to teach or coach. So junior year, I
Mm-hmm.
was playing. I had I was in certain big packages. I played special teams, punt, and field goal. So I knew my role. I found my niche. I knew how I was helping the team. So it didn't bother me.
Right.
We all had the goal in the beginning, man. I want to go to the NFL. I want to go to the NFL. Okay, but what I learned now after college was NFL stands for not for long. And,
Yep.
I'm fortunate enough that, we do like a little player development deal every year that one of our coaches talks about the percentages of guys going from high school to college to the NFL. The percentage of guys going to college is high. But after college, that thing drops tremendously. But
Tremendously.
junior year, man, I knew my role. I'm like, I know what I wanted to do. Because again, people really don't know this story. Like, I wasn't about to play my fifth year. I already had a job offer from one of
Okay.
my mentors and former strength coach to go out to Kansas with him at the University of Kansas with Turner Gill at the
Wow.
time, who was the hottest thing in coaching at that time, minority wise also.
Yep.
And
Yep.
shoot, I stood up that day in the team meeting before the last home game. Coach was like, "You sure?" Like, "Yeah, coach. I already talked to my family. Everybody's good." Then
So wait, so does Coach Pugh, does Coach Buddy Pugh at the end of every year say, all right, who's leaving?
so he always does. If you're playing your last home game in Oliver C. Dawson, going in, that's always the Sunday deal before the home game, and he'll
Okay.
stand up, so he'll see, who, and he'll count up, and he just went around. He saw the seniors. They say if it was a guy who had like one more year left. You sure? I was
So
one of
that could be seniors or that could be
junior.
guys going in the draft.
Yep.
That could be okay.
It can be a variety of guys. So I stood
Okay.
up. He's like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Yeah, coach, I'm good." And the guys already knew because they knew so all the players knew I had to offer and knew that everybody tell you, man, shit. We knew Sax was gonna be a coach because again, how I worked my ass off on the field, but they knew I knew football. So
Oh yeah, yeah.
it was kind of like I'm good. So the minute I'm in meetings, my phone's in my locker. So before we go to practice that Sunday, I got like 20 missed calls from my people, my family. And I call them back for practice, like, you got to start what you finish. Start what you finish.
Mm.
Finish what you started. And what I'm like, oh, I just got my degree. I'm finishing what I've started. Like,
Yeah,
I can't even
I'm
get.
finished.
I'm good. I got a job offer to work in
Yeah.
Kansas. I'm getting my master's while I'm out there. Like what's what we talking about? So, man, then Coach Davis, my offensive line coach at the time, he was like, "So what you gonna do?" I'm thinking to myself, did they just call my people and say like I stood up, I'm doing this? I'm like, we were good for a second. So
That was fast, right?
I
Like
was a
you
quick
did.
turnaround. I just talked to them. I've been talking to them for about a month, just telling them like this is my plan, this is what I want to do. I'm graduating in the spring. Dude, man, I had all the missed calls and talked to them like you gotta Finish what you started. I'm getting my degree. What is there to finish? Like, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
then they talking to my coach and they just convinced me to come back. I was like, all right. Came back for the year, which
So yeah, go ahead.
came back for that year, and I don't regret it. You question some things, but I didn't regret coming. I did not regret coming back because I enjoyed it tremendously. So
Okay, so tell me about some of the details of that fifth year. Why was it so enjoyable? Like why did it make sense to you?
I was just taking classes. I literally probably
Okay.
all my classes were online. I probably went to class. Had one class I actually went to, which only reason I took it was because I had a C in it from like freshman year, and I wanted to get the 3.0. I was sitting at like a 2.99. I wanted to get a 3.0 for grad school. If I knew what I knew now, I would have just went there and started grad school. But
Right.
but all I had to do, I had every workout session in the morning. So after I work out in the morning, shoot, all I had to do was get ready for practice, or I'll be in the office with coach talking football and just trying to learn. Cause I had a new coach that year, so I ain't had much on my plate. So I was just hanging out, enjoying being a college student. Them boys talking about you don't never go to class. I ain't got no class. I got my degree. What you want me to do? So
Yeah.
many times,
So
many
okay,
times at
so
Nick's house. Many times at Nick's house on during the
uh
week, hanging out, all that.
I'm telling you, man, you Nick and I we gonna get on here and we gonna chop it up.
Listen,
We won't tell any stories that could incriminate us
hey,
in any way,
I'm happy I got my
because
headphones on because somebody she listens to the podcast just in case for some stories.
yeah, yeah, you have a fiance. Nick is he's in a very strong situation, and myself, like my wife was in the last episode, so I'm sure if we start talking crazy, she's gonna hop in. But but anyway, uh, mm. so so did I understand South Carolina State University because I grew up around that, right? Tell me about before, I'm trying to pace myself because I'm very excited to hear your take on this question. So I understand that basketball is basketball, right? So I play Division 2, but if I can hoop, I don't care if you went D1. If I can go, I can go. Football is football. If you can play, you can play. It don't matter if you come from South Carolina State. It don't matter if you come from Louisville. It doesn't matter. If you can play, you can play. And we'll talk about South Carolina State's impact on the NFL right now. Um, we can talk about that. But football is football. What's the difference between a school like South Carolina State and a school like Louisville?
Man,
What's the difference in your opinion?
of course they got more scholarships, but it's the facilities and the usage, man. It's the things they have at hand for them. They had a
Mm-hmm.
nutrition person on stand. You had training table. They can go and get snacks whenever they wanted to. So compared to at South Carolina State, when we get out of practice, we got to run to the calf and make it on time. Compared to when I was at
Mm-hmm.
Louisville, shoot, we run out, type everything in for practice, go take a shower, come back up. We got food already right there, catered meal. So
Mm-hmm.
we had different modes. We had different vendors from around the city come and feed the team. So, and which if anybody knows that's listening that is a graduate assistant or has done it before, your meals normally come from the training table as a graduate assistant because you're not getting paid where you can go out.
Shout out to my
Hey,
GAs.
where you can go out and go spend money like that. But nah, man, it's just the facilities and the support staffs and the stuff they're able to do. The Power Fives and Group of Fives able to do more than we can at FCS due to money. It's to be able to give you're taking a kid who may not have much, and when they get to college, that may be their first time even having 3 meals a day in their life.
Wow.
And that's what I had to understand
Mm.
too. But it's just the facilities and the money at hand, man. People don't realize some of these Power Five schools generate so much money. Now, football is still football.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just like you said, basketball is basketball, no matter level. But I
Yep.
tell our guys all the time, you can take this big name kid But you see him, if he still looks the same from when he set foot on campus to that third year where you know he's going to declare, something ain't right. You still got to
Yeah.
develop. The name of the game is still develop.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it well, like I said, I'll ask you about this later, but the cream always rise to the
Yep.
top. So it don't matter if you at a D2, it don't matter if you at a HBCU, it doesn't matter. If you can go, they're gonna find
Ain't no
you.
question. No matter where you are, they're gonna
They
find
are
you.
going to find you. So it's interesting that you talk about your experience at a big school. Before we move on, tell me about one game where you said, "Oh, this is different." And I'm talking about ESPN coverage, maybe. I'm talking about fans. I'm talking about all this stuff. Tell me about one game that really let you know that you were on the stage.
So I'm gonna give you two instances.
Okay.
The my first ever game at University of Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, "Man, you gonna miss some plays up in the press box." I said, "Nah, I'm be good. I'm be good." Man, I missed that whole probably two drives, man, because it was I'm not used to being on this, so it was going boom, 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 boom. And then
Yeah.
the Sugar Bowl, the same year we played University of Florida, to where
Okay, Sax, before you made a reference to the Sugar Bowl, tell people about the Sugar Bowl before you go into your personal experience. Because, like I said, Sax, we worldwide, baby.
man,
tell tell me about the Sugar Bowl, man.
man, probably one of the
Before you go into your personal experience, excuse me.
greatest experience ever, man. Like to be a part of a bowl game because we knew people that played Division One that went to bowl games. Uh, but to actually experience, man, my eyes were just like, man, this is it right here. Like, and then the guys that were at the University of Florida that came to Louisville with Coach Strong, they was like, oh yeah, man, this is nothing right here. This is how they always do it. So I'm like,
Where was the game?
uh,
Where did the game take
New
place?
Orleans at the Superdome. So man, we were 2 blocks away from
Yes.
Bourbon Street, so it was like, man, I had a ball, and it made it even more better that we won the game, you know. So that
Wow.
experience, that whole bowl dynamic for the Sugar Bowl, man, was awesome, man. It was the greatest experience ever. A young kid at that time, a young adult at that time, could even experience who started coaching. Like I tell you, I was blessed. I was fortunate enough to get up to be a part of a team that was built and grinded through and end up being one of the top teams in the country.
Can you feel the fans in there? Did the hair on your forearm stand up when you heard the crowd react to a play that took place on the field? Like, like I said, Sax, I'm a details guy. Like, even when I play sports,
Right.
I'm a details guy. Did the hair on your arm stand up? Like, did it make you want to put on a helmet? Like,
Listen,
what was that about in those big time moments with Louisville?
walking around in pregame has you like, man, shit, let's go, let's ride. Like I'm ready to play. But Florida fans, some of our close friends may, oldest Johnson, one of our friends, he's gonna be mad that I say this, but the Florida fans,
Uh
they
huh.
didn't show up because they were they were upset. They lost to Georgia and they didn't make the SEC championship. So it's kind of like, man, we just here. So they didn't really show up.
Like a consolation
Yeah,
prize, if you will.
at those programs, it's
Okay.
national championship or bust. Uh, with us, at Louisville, the Louisville fans came ready to rock and roll, like slam pack. So when that first play of the game when we got that pick six, man, you could hear nothing. Like you couldn't hear anything. Like I'm in the press box, we trying to talk on headsets. It's like you can't hear anything. Like you just hear the crowd. Oh, you just hear all that people going wild. So I was like, I need to be down there. I
Wow.
need to be in the mix. Like I want to play like
Oh
because
my
it was
gosh.
just the atmosphere.
Well, okay, so you guys won the game. After you win the game, do you get a parade in Louisville, or is it just like, what, we're gonna hold down Bourbon Street and then we're
So
gonna fly
I can
home
tell you the
tomorrow?
support staff and coaches. Most of the sports staff we held down Bourbon Street and celebrated with the fans. But after the game, the kids don't have curfew anymore, so they just know. And Coach Strong did a great thing, man. Most of the kids were able to fly back because school didn't start for like another week. So most of the kids were able
Hmm.
to fly back home and go spend time with their family. But the sports staff held it
Nice.
down on Bourbon Street. I just remember after the game,
Held held it down.
I ain't get back to the room till like 6 a.m. because we literally were 2 blocks away.
And I can imagine. I don't want to speak for you and the staff at Louisville, but I can imagine your budget for the celebration was open.
Man, listen.
Am I
Oh,
wrong
you listen,
or?
listen. All I just know, if the some of the alumni fans that recognized us working there, they were buying us drinks and celebrating. They do the chant CARDS card. Let's they the little chant. I'm just L1C4.
Nice.
It was
Oh wow.
man. So
Yeah.
it was huge, man. It was enjoyable to see how a city lit up like that. For the support, and then
Yeah.
what people also don't realize is they call that year the year of the cards because the women's basketball team went to the Final Four national championship, and the men won the national championship the same year.
Ah, yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
I just
I remember
remember
that year.
in my apartment complex, it was like
Ooh,
right across the street from the
that's
campus.
tough.
They literally blocked off the main street in front of my apartment, and everybody you can imagine out of the middle of the street just having a great time celebrating that. So people don't really remember
That's
that.
tough. Oh my gosh. Oh man. So Sax, you were at Louisville for 2 seasons,
Yes, two
correct?
seasons. Yep.
Okay, so what what was the cause of you only being there for 2 seasons? Because you start off as a GA, you're well respected, the people like you, the coaching staff, they respect you. What what happens after year two?
So, Coach Strong took the University of Texas job. So he was taking his
Mm-hmm.
time, knowing what he could and could not do as a coach, who he can bring in, and whatnot. So we were right there working. They hired Bobby Petrino back. Uh,
Okay.
so I actually worked for him for about 2 or 3 weeks. He told us that I'm not gonna do anything. Uh, this is you guys are fine. So we go to convention 2 weeks later. We come back from convention. Man, he start firing us left and right. Man, I go from
Oh gosh.
so like an hour past. It's like 12 o'clock that day. I'm like, sure, I'm good. He gonna keep me. I'm good. Like nothing happening because the D line coach at the time was
Uh-huh.
still there. Clint Hurt, he still was there. So we were good. So I think Hurt went ahead and took the Chicago Bears job, and he was helping me out trying to find something and whatnot, just trying to look out for me. Uh, so, because he was actually trying to convince Petrino to actually get him to hire me in his place because I knew the kids, I was a good coach, and you keep the continuity of the kids to where you ain't got to start all the way
Yes.
over. So he didn't go for that. He gave him my name and another guy's name that would be the perfect fit for it. Man, he fired a couple guys before me. I'm sitting at my desk like, I'm good. I'm in there just uploading my hard drive with all my film to make sure I got everything. Man, hey, I need to talk to you right quick. He kind of talked to me
Oh
then and just
God.
said, I don't need you anymore. If I can do anything for you, just let me know. All right, man. But again, that at that time,
Why okay, before you go into this, so why do people say that, Sax? I'm firing you, but hey man, if you need me to do anything, like bro,
I'm like, if
can you really give me another
yeah, I'm
job?
like, you really don't know me. I work for you for 2 weeks. I'm gonna work hard, but I'm not,
2 weeks.
I'm not under your tree.
Oh,
You don't
come
know
on,
me
coach.
because you got to realize
Yeah.
technically I'm classified
I
as
mean, I can see we knew each other for at least six
yeah.
months, right? But 2 weeks, you really gonna do something for
But
me?
even with those 2 weeks, I was able to. The new staff was a couple of those guys I actually got to get to know like Terrell Buckley. I got to talk to him for a few. Pick his brains. And Terrell Buckley was all pro, played in the NFL, played at Florida State for years.
All pro.
Uh,
Yep.
Kobe Smith played at Louisville
Uh
back in
huh.
the day. He's working in the NFL, so every time I see Kobe at coaching conventions, we always sit and talk. So it was very beneficial for me because I got to meet a whole other network. Uh, but no, it sucks, man. You telling me just let me know what I can do for you. How about like call somebody right now while I'm in front of you to give me a job? And I told him who I was looking at trying to get on with, but and God works in mysterious ways. I took it hard, man, because I never been fired before. So I was down and
Okay.
out walking around that facility, man. Walking out, I was emotional as all get out because I never been fired before. But again, and what it taught me
Nah,
was,
but you know what, man? Like, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. My bad.
uh, I just taught me this profession. You got to be ready to get fired to hired to from hired to fired. Excuse me.
Man, the beautiful thing about, and I don't like to speak for people, but the beautiful thing about life, right? It provides us with a little bit of friction.
Yeah,
So when things are going great, when life provides you with friction, that's an opportunity for us
some growth.
to get ready for what's about to come next. Life is preparing us for that friction or that tribulation, if you will. That's preparing us for our come up,
Yeah,
right?
yep, yep,
So you felt whatever way in your spirit and your soul and your mind, but in order for you to take what was coming next, you had to go through that.
yep,
You got to go through it, because I'm just like I'm in professional basketball and I do it for a living right now. I learned that this is cutthroat.
oh,
For you being in coaching, in that experience as a GA, a grad assistant, you weren't even like officially a coach on one side of the ball or the other. But as a GA, you got to learn the cutthroat
yep,
business. So now when you go through business, you understand business. So it's one thing to be dealing with football, but Coach Petrino put you on some business.
yeah,
It hurt, but that's how it goes. You had to learn that.
yeah. And it's kind of how God works in mysterious ways, man. When I got home, I packed up my apartment, got to the house. Before I can even unpack, I legitly got a phone call from Clifford Snow, operations guy. Man, Coach Strong wants to bring you to the University of Texas. I'm like, shoot, I can
Mm-hmm.
drive right now. I just drive through the night. Let's ride. He's like, just hold on.
You about to drive to
Oh man,
Texas?
listen, when I got to Orange, bro, I was about to drive to Austin, Texas, because I was like, if you telling me to come on, there's no need for me to, unpack. But he's like, nah, Sax, just hold on. We're
Yeah,
working through some things. As I was waiting at home,
yeah.
the University of Michigan called because, again, my mentor gave him my name, and he was like, you know, they want to interview for another GA job. So I'm like, shoot, let's do it. Flew up there, interview with because Brady Hope was the coach at the time, and Greg Madison was the defense coordinator, who knew my boss at the time.
Okay.
And he was kind of talking about it, and I interviewed with him. He's like, coach me up on this clip right here. I was like, yeah, he should be, stepping this way. We call this Cowboys. Like, same thing we did at Florida when I was with Coach Strong. I was like, he's too long of a
Mm.
step. He gets cut out his gap. He's like, man, Johnathan, you fit perfect for us. Working with the defensive line with our other D line coach.
That IQ coach.
And I'm looking at him like, man, he's like, if you choose to come, man, we'd love to have you here. I'm like, choose, like, let's ride. Like, this University of Michigan.
It's a no-brainer.
Like, if you tell you
No-brainer.
guys you want me right now, shit, let's do it.
Yeah.
And shoot, and it's crazy how things work. Didn't get it. I talked to the guys. He was like, man, they said I did an amazing job with the interview. And a guy who I'm good friends with now, he works at another university. He actually got the job. Only way I remembered him because I remember passing
Mm.
by a guy. They dropped me off to the hotel that day, and now as I was leaving, somebody was coming to pick me up to take me back to the airport. And I saw him. I just remember him that 2 years later at the coaching convention, he was at another school, and we were talking. He knew some friends of mine in the profession. Man, we linked right there. But I was looking at them like, if I choose to come, like, shoot, let's go, let's ride. Like, I'll just send this shit
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
truck
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Truck ain't been unpacked. Let's go. Like, I'm ready, But
Yeah, we rolling.
God works in mysterious ways, man. Because if I would have taken that job, that same staff actually got let go the next year. So I've been back to
Ah,
point A. So
man, I don't. That's so crazy because I always talk about South Carolina State, right? And I talk about my time, maybe going there and being on the team, dude. When I verbally committed, what took place after that? So I spent 4 years at Catawba, Division II. I had my coach the whole 4 years. I had the whole staff the whole 4 years. Had I gone to South Carolina State,
So
dude, I would have had four different coaches in my 4 years
4
in
years.
school, and there's no telling I would have been able to impress the new coach that came in.
And that's the
You know, especially if it was based on success or whether the coach gets a new job or not. I had no control over that. You know, so what you're saying right now just made me think about, oh dang, like had I gone to the school, we would have had fun.
oh, it would have been fun. It would have been.
But it would have been fun. But I would have had four different coaches in 4 years, bro.
That's,
Four different
and,
coaches.
and that's
Wow.
the tough part about the college athletics, man. You can have this head coach one day or this coach one day, and then the next day it's a new coach, man. So it's the nature of the beast. But one thing, I even tell my fiance Justice, I look for longevity. I don't want to take a job
Mm.
to where we're only going to be able to live here for 2 or 3 years. I want to be able to say if I want to,
Yeah.
if this going to be my end game to be here for the rest of our lives, I want to be able to say that.
Yes.
So
That's something that I craved in my professional career. And I mean, that's another story when we talk about, the beautiful women in our lives, and when we talk about, our professional life, dude, that's another that's a good conversation, Stacks. We're gonna have you back. I don't want to hold you all day. But when we talk about longevity and consistency, oh yeah, we got a lot for that. Okay, so Sax, you go through this process after Louisville lets you go. Where do you end up?
man, Coach Pugh actually called me to work, just kind of volunteer at South Carolina State in the spring. He said whenever they call you for you to go, you'll leave, but right now you can work for me. So I was like, all right, coach. I wasn't gonna say no because in the end of the day it's about just kind of staying in it. And then the defense coordinator at the time was actually coming from Louisville, so it was kind of a no brainer
Mm.
for me when you know work at South Carolina State, Michigan, or University of Louisville. Okay, neither one of these schools have said anything to me. And in our profession, it's about getting. You can't go after a big job sometimes if you haven't had the experience yet. I wanted to
Yeah.
run my own room. And then in the beginning of this process, I never understood that. I was like, man, nah, I'm not taking.
Okay, Sax. Before I'm gonna stop you for our listeners who don't understand American football, because like I said, we in Europe too, Sax. You know, when you say run your own room, what does that mean?
Coach that position. You have your own group of guys you're coaching, and like you're in charge of that group. Whether it's the quarterback, I'm in charge of that quarterback position. So
Yep.
you're you're coaching them and developing them to be the best American football players they can be. Uh,
And you get a physical
yep,
room where you in your position you can go in there and watch film
I'm correcting.
and
Yep,
study together
correct.
as a small group,
Yep,
not the whole team, one
just
small
small
group.
group, just me in there working with them, correcting them on their technique and fundamentals. Uh, so that's what I mean by running my own room. Uh,
Hmm.
that deal there, I going into the process of coaching, I never understood that. Uh, but as time went on, I understood it now because being a defensive coordinator now, what else can you say to me? You can't say I haven't ran my own room. So I went from running my own room to
Hmm.
running my own side of the football. What else can you say to me now? Because not to sound arrogant or cocky.
Okay, let me stop you. Let me stop you. So when you got to South Carolina, when you got back to South Carolina State, because you going in the direction, yeah, you know what direction
Yeah,
we
yep,
going.
yep,
We talking about running rooms,
yep.
right? When you got back to South Carolina State, what were you doing?
Man, I was actually coaching outside linebackers. It kind
Okay.
of was almost a quality control role, but I had a little bit more responsibility because the DC really
Hmm.
trusted me and I knew the defense. So he was one of the guys that he leaned on me
Hmm.
heavily for game days and getting stuff done. So I went from coaching outside linebackers to the next year I coached linebackers. Now I've had linebackers from 2015 on to all the way now. Uh, so
And that meant when you talking about linebackers, that mean the whole
the
squad,
whole squad,
like
yep,
outside,
inside,
inside,
yep.
guys that kind of move
Those are my
from
guys.
safety to inside, like all that type of stuff. You ran that
Yep,
show right there.
that's my deal. So uh,
Okay.
so I took that over.
Okay, so you go from outside to the entire linebacker core, And if you all don't know American football, the linebackers are they're the
The
centerpiece
quarterback.
of the defense. They're the centerpiece. So the linebackers are very versatile. They're big. They're strong. They hit very hard. They have to be communicators. Of course, they have some people behind them in the secondary, which can see behind them. And of course, it's all about communication. But the linebackers, if it's not the defensive line getting penetration, the linebackers are the ones who are guarding multiple positions. They have to be great communicators. They have to be versatile. You were in charge of that
Yep.
group.
Yep. I was
Okay, so you go from linebackers to go
I
ahead.
was blessed to take over that group, and that group, which I know you about to bring it up, but that group had a special athlete in the group. Athlete in the group.
Ooh. I told
so
y'all we were gonna talk about some of the pros.
so they had a special athlete in the group, but I'll wait till we get to that. So
Yeah. So you go from so you climb up the ladder. I call it climbing up the ladder, and it's important that we speak in that way because it speaks on process.
yeah,
There's a process to get to success. I'm gonna say it one more time because that rhymed. There's a process to get to success. You took it step by step, and then you get to a position where you become the defensive coordinator. What is it like for you to get that approval to say when Coach Pugh calls you in and he says, Johnathan, it's time? What is it like for you?
I mean it's huge, man. That means he trusts you, because he'll tell anybody, whoever is running his defense of his program. That means he trusts you cold heartedly to do a great job. Uh, that was probably it was definitely a whirlwind that day because you like, man, you're thankful for the opportunity to go ahead, and be a coordinator because it's a lot of guys that I know, and it's crazy that I say this, that they're like, man, they envy me because they're position coaches. I'm trying to get them where they are, but they're like, Sax, we're trying to get like you. I'm like, what you mean? I'm trying to call plays. They're trying to get that coordinator notch because sometimes, if you haven't been a coordinator, they won't give you that notch to be a head coach sometimes. But it meant a
Mm-hmm.
lot, man. But the minute it happened, I got on the phone, and started calling everybody, man. How do I be a coordinator? And the first thing somebody
Mm.
told me is, it's no book to tell you how. You know how to put a game plan together. You know how things intertwine. The biggest
Mm-hmm.
advice somebody gave me was just go out there and do it. You know what you can and cannot do as you go game by game. That's how you learn. I can't go out here and give you a
Mm-hmm.
blueprint on how to be a coordinator. I can just tell you how to be more organized, how to
Mm-hmm.
do schemes that fit your guys. So it was a whirlwind, but let me tell you, it's one of the happiest days of my life because I knew right then I got a notch on my belt saying that when I go to these other interviews, what else can you say to me? I'm a defense coordinator.
You took all the steps, bro.
So and I rather and I
You took all the steps. You didn't skip a step. It wasn't nepotism.
nothing.
It wasn't nepotism. Like you had to go through all the steps. You went from GA to I mean, you started with weights,
Yep,
right?
yep.
You started, in the physical portion of it. You went to GA. You come back. You get outside linebackers, which is a small group. Then you go to the linebacker core, bigger group, and then boom, DC. Like you didn't skip a step.
Man, it's
Like you went through the whole process,
it's the
man. They can't say you
it's
cheated.
the grind, man. I told my guys I'd rather have this path that I'm on than the easiest path. Because sometimes I feel like guys.
I was just about to ask you that. Do you love it doing it this
Oh
way?
yeah, I think I do. Because it shows me to grind it out, but also I'm able to get it out the mud and grind it all the way through from the bottom to the top. And that reward at the end is gonna be so much sweeter because I knew from where I was to where I'm going to now. Because
Oh
there's a lot
man.
of guys in the profession sometimes don't get a job because they're a great coach. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of great coaches out there. But it's a lot of guys
Mm-hmm.
sometimes out there that get a job because, well, my dad knew his dad, or my mom knew his mom.
Yeah.
Just the connection. But again, that's the connection that a lot of us, we have to understand that I can't get a job with this person if I don't know him. In
Mm-hmm.
the day, because when you're a head coach, bringing in the staff, you got to bring in guys that you trust. So,
Yeah.
nah, I embrace the grind. I love the grind, man. I rather grind because I know if I bust my behind now, and the hardest adversity has come now, at the end of the day, it's gonna become easy when I get in the same situation.
Yeah. Man, hey, we got to take those licks,
Yeah.
man. And I mean, you know my journey to some degree, and I spoke about this. I didn't skip any steps, bro. Once I dedicated myself to this, I was with everything. I was all of the lumps that I took, all of those summers where I had to wait to get a call, and I'm waiting in a way where I'm like, man, maybe they don't call. When you don't skip steps, man, it feels so good when you get that reward, man. When you get a W, when you get a win, woo. But okay, so we talked about your process, right? Let me ask you this, and you alluded to it earlier in the interview. You talked about some of the players that came through your program, and it's an illustrious program. South Carolina State football is not your average small
It's
school.
not definitely.
It's some real dudes that came through that program, and I'm talking about from back in the '70s. It's a historic football program, and you guys are still holding it down. I want to ask you this: you've had a guy like Darius Leonard to come through for you. Can you see an NFL talent when he walks in the room? When he gets into your first practice, when you see him in the weight room, when you start to see his work ethic, when you start to see the way that he handles himself, can you see an NFL talent, or what, does it sneak up on you? Like, how does that come about for you, in your opinion?
I kind of wait to that third year, but you can see some of the intangibles that a guy has. When they,
And you've been on the big stage too.
yeah. So
You've been on the biggest stage, so you can see, you've seen guys from,
all levels.
and we'll talk about what you just experienced a couple weeks ago. In the last month or so, we're gonna get to that.
So,
But
so
yeah,
probably that third year, we can look at it. We'll get a freshman kid who's moving around great and is making plays in games. You're like, man, he has a chance. But that's year one.
hmm
Year three is when we
hmm
really got to see. Uh, so year three is when we really kind of can tell, like, all right, this guy may give him a chance to make a little money. Uh,
okay.
so that year three, cause we're recruiting a guy because of their intangibles, running, jumping, change of
hmm
direction. Can he play a football in the air? What's his IQ like?
What about what about, so we talk, yeah, you just alluded to IQ. What about communication? Do you guys like good communicators,
We
guys who understand how to communicate with other players?
we do, but at the same time, it's kind of like we're going to help you with that aspect. Every guy coming out of high school program doesn't have to communicate as much on the football field. But now high school football is
Okay.
changing to the degree where they're running a lot of college plays and techniques and fundamentals. So, but the communication aspect, we really don't worry about because we'll get that to that point. We can get you there. That's no issue
Okay.
there.
Okay. Okay, so now Sax. So we're gonna go back into what you experienced a couple weeks ago, and this kind of relates to our conversation about NFL talent. We're gonna get back to that towards the end.
Yeah.
But Sax, you guys are you national champions. We're gonna keep it 100. You're not you didn't play in the biggest playoff scenario, but you guys played Jackson State University. South Carolina State headed up against Jackson State University, a heavy freight favorite in a bowl game, in the Celebration Bowl. You guys went head to head. There was a lot of publicity behind it. It was a lot of emotion behind it. You guys were heavy underdogs, heavy, and I'm throwing up the quotable sign with my
Yeah.
hands. You were heavy underdogs to some people, and I want to hear about your experience in that game. So so you guys are approaching the postseason. You get an opportunity. You earn the right to get an opportunity to play in this bowl game. Tell me what it's like when you guys win that last game before you know who you're gonna play. And I mean, you already had an idea who you may have, who
Yeah,
you might have been playing. Tell me what it's like after you win that last game.
man,
What is it like? What is it like around the program?
man, it was, man, a weight lifted off our shoulders, man. We've been trying to get to that plateau for a long time, man. Just for Coach Pugh, for the program, we knew that game, winning the championship and getting into that game can change the school's landscape tremendously. Get South Carolina State back to where it used to be. So it
Mm-hmm.
felt amazing to, how our season started to how it ended. Like they always say, ain't how you start, it's how you finish. You can start off great,
Absolutely.
but give off in the tail end. So, and I always told,
Great Nipsey said it's about the
it's a marathon.
marathon. It's not a foot
It's
race.
definitely not a foot race. So, and
Yes,
I
sir.
remember telling the guys after we played Florida A&M, we didn't play our best. We got a couple guys out. Still ain't no excuse. If your best players are next man up, let's ride. But I told them guys, when we win this thing, the same people that were talking bad about you guys and saying this and that about y'all, keep them over there. Because I always told them the
Mm-hmm.
only thing that matters is everybody in this room and in this building that's on this team. Nobody else matters because
I love it.
it,
Oh, that mental. I love the mental approach,
it's
man. I love to hear about this, the mental preparation
it's
for
nothing else
things like
matters
this,
because
man.
people are going to talk about you as a player no matter what. You can go out there and have a 100-yard game, 2 touchdowns at receiver. Well, you should have 204 touchdowns. You're going
Yep.
to be on this pedestal, And here at South Carolina State, man, it's win or go home. If you ain't winning no championship, you ain't doing nothing. So, but man, it was
Mm-hmm.
a weight lifting off our shoulder, man. We've been trying to get to that game for so long, to where when we finally reached that, man, it was like, well, we ain't going just to be here. Like we happy we
Yep.
here, but we just not selling on just being here now. We coming to win. Like, yeah, we finally made it, but this is we don't play games just to play. We play to darn win.
What is it like in around a program when you hear you playing JSU? When you hear you about to play Jackson State, what's the mindset?
We got excited, but to me, it didn't matter who we played. Our mentality was anytime, any place, anywhere. It doesn't matter. We know we're a winning program ourselves, and Jackson State has tremendous history, man. And they were, man, like I said in an interview before on my press conference deal, the 2 days before the game, I said they are 2 plays away from being undefeated against UL Monroe. So we got excited. Yes, it's Coach Sanders, it's this and that, but we also know we didn't care who we played. We wanted to put on the show on ABC. It's national television.
It's national television, and let me tell our listeners about Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders is an icon.
Yes.
He's not. He wasn't only one of the top 5 football players to ever play the game. He's also an amazing entertainer. So if someone stops playing football and becomes a coach, you want Deion Sanders to sell your program because he is entertaining. He's the guy that you want to be around. He doesn't curse. He doesn't smoke. He don't drink. He's he's that guy. However, he's gonna sell your product.
Yes.
You want this guy to sell your product. And when I say the illustrious Jackson State, I speak about Jackson State from a standpoint of the guy running the show, who's recruiting players and doing all of that, is being Deion Sanders, a legend. Deion Sanders is the head coach for that program. He sold the program. He brought in players from all different places. They went 11-1. Am I correct?
Yeah, they went 11-1. 11-1.
11-1, and they are on the other side of South Carolina State University in what we call the championship game of the season, the other championship. And they're lined up. This game is here now. Give me some. You can give me some small or big details. It's depending on how much time you have. Give me some details in regards to when the game is set? You all are in Atlanta, and there's some press involved. There's some dinners involved. There's some things involved. What's the lead up to the game?
Some things were said that probably shouldn't have been said by both either sides. But man, kids gonna be kids, man. You know, we gonna talk trash as part of it, but you know, it was some things were done and said that probably should not have been said. Uh, you know, some
Okay.
lines you don't cross. My mom always taught me you treat people the way you want to be treated. So
Yes.
you know, when you show disrespect, that's for us, we take that a little bit personal. It's
My uncle used to always say, either you gonna barbecue or you gonna mildew.
exactly. So what you gonna do?
A lot of people won't understand that, but it means, hey, either you're gonna react or you just gonna fall back and just let it happen.
So we knew we were ready to play, but some things like again, we weren't always around our kids, after the different events. So each
Mm-hmm.
hotels are right beside each other. We stayed at the Omni. They were in one tower. We in the other tower. So our kids, you were kind of interacting and you were just looking at each other. And our kids would be walking the sidewalk, just going to get some to eat or whatever. And, some trash talking was done. So they never came to me and said
Yeah.
anything. I know what I wanted to get accomplished, as a coach and as a person, as a profession. But the stage was already set. We knew what we wanted to do, the social media. We weren't a team that was going to be all over social media. That's not us. When we win, we're doing what we're supposed to do.
So give me so okay. So give me. I don't want the X's and O's, because if you watch the game and their highlights up, and I'm sure the full game is available for all of you who want to see it. What is your conversation? What's the mental approach? Because I love this too. I'm going to step off for a second, and I'm going to say, when we talk about guys like Kobe Bryant, when we talk about LeBron James, when we talk about Michael Jordan, when we talk about Larry Bird, when we talking about, and I'm talking about basketball, right? We can go to football when we talking about John Elway, when we talking about Ray Lewis, when we talking about some of the best players that ever played the game of football, right? I like to hear the way that they think. I like to hear that. I want to talk to Cam Newton about his mentality. What is your approach as a defensive coordinator? How are you trying to get the guys to lock in mentally before the game starts?
Dominate or be dominated. I can't get my actual words I say, but it's dominate or be dominated.
That's okay. Mm-hmm.
And you always talk about a legacy. I always tell them, going in college, everybody wants this. Everybody wants the single digit. And we always talked about. I kind of took this from another program that did this year. What is your why? Why you play the game? Why you do what you do?
Ooh,
And
we like to use that on this show too, Sax.
why you do what you do?
You gotta know your why.
You gotta know your why. And for them, I kept talking about nobody's ever gonna remember a number. They're gonna remember that name. They're gonna remember, such as he was a cold player, man. He would knock the heck out you if he saw you, or man, he can take the top off of defense. So the mental preparation was we belong here. They can say we 6-5 or whatever, but we knew that nobody played the schedule that we played. Nobody. We went through a gauntlet, so that prepared us to get to this point. A statement was made down there that we play in front of sold out crowds all the time. Man, you ain't playing in front of sold out crowds till you play against in Clemson, Death Valley, 80 plus thousand. They running down the hill. That's a sold out crowd.
Yes, sir.
It's a different atmosphere. So
yes,
you can play in front of that sold out crowd, but we were prepared from preseason all the way through now. South Carolina State is a program, it's a winning program, but mentally you're gonna be ready to roll no matter what, because the situation that you face and the competition you face. So mentally, we were happy to be there, but listen, we're not here just to be here. We're here to make a statement that South Carolina State football is back where it's supposed to be.
oh man, I love that. I love that, and I've played on I've played on many teams that has been the underdog, and I love coming in there and busting somebody in the mouth. Not literally, metaphorically. We come in there, we gonna bust you in the mouth, and if you about that, if you are who you are, then we gonna see where the chips fall. But We are going to come in here and pop you in the mouth, and we want to see how you react.
Yeah.
And if you don't react in the way that you're supposed to, we're going to jump on you and we're going to overwhelm you. We're going to leave here with
We
the trophy or the win or
we ain't
whatever.
gonna let up. Let me tell you something. We trying, like we say in the bird, we trying to see if
Yeah.
you about that life, if you about what you be talking about. So
Yeah, if you, yeah.
and that
Are you ready to back up
what you
what you're
talking about.
saying?
And
That
we
yes.
tell the guys all the time, man, we ain't gotta talk. I mean, teams that talk, and my dad always told me that somebody that's talk, sometimes always talking their way into ass with. Excuse me, that's what happens sometimes. When they run in
Uh-huh.
their mouth, they, all like the Joker said in the movie. Sometimes all that chit chat is gonna get you hurt.
But the talking thing, Sax, like it goes two ways,
Yeah,
right? So if you're in the business that you're in, because what you're doing in football, what you all are doing, you in the program, it's entertainment,
yeah,
right? So you got to sell the game. That's one part of it. But the second part of all that talking is insecurity.
yes,
When somebody really talking a lot and they screaming, I'm gonna do this, they're insecure. They're
yeah,
not comfortable. Because see that man or woman, if they're really secure in their place, if I'm nice like that, if I'm really about that, I don't have to say nothing.
exactly.
As soon as the ball tips, or as soon as that ball is kicked off, or as soon as we playing tennis, as soon as we start the match in tennis, I'm about to see. We're about to
See what
see
you talking about.
who you are.
I got to test it out. I got to
Yeah,
test it.
it's no more talking. We here now. This is why I love boxing. I love boxing because it's like, hey, they sold the fight,
Now let's see
but if
who really can back it
don't
up.
talk too crazy, yeah, it's hard to go. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the football game from my perspective, right? So I'm watching this football game in Europe, Sax. I get the stream. I find ESPN. I pay for it, all of that stuff, right? I tune up the game. My wife, who is an American European, she's American/European woman. She knows about American football, but she's not locked in. All right, dude. When I tell you that game was one of the best football experiences that I've had in many years, it was. I hate the David and Goliath thing, but it was very competitive, and you guys were clear underdogs. You started off slow and you figured it out. You figured it out, and it was just like it was kind of it was kind of like watching the Locks uh be on versus against
Just
Dipset. You know what I'm saying? It's like everybody loves Dipset swag. Like, they got all of the chains on, they so cool or whatever. But the Locks just came in there and they were just like, we just better than you. We don't care that you have the glitz and the glamour. You might have more followers. Your chains might be shinier. You might have on all of the designer gear. But we're coming in here for a W. And you guys came in there and you figured it out. What is it like for you on the sideline? Because the defensive side of the ball, you guys, you shine like sunlight early in the game. The offense figured it out eventually, but you guys started off well. What when you're in the game, what's in your head? Are you just sticking to the game plan? Or are you saying, oh wait, we got these guys figured out completely?
you stick to the game plan, but as the game goes on, like you said, if you got a tendency from a team and you're calling a certain thing based off that tendency, you just stick to the tendency. And like they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just
Mm-hmm.
keep on doing what you're doing. And for us, game plan wise as a coach, you stick to the game plan. After the first half of the game plan is working, or after that or after the first quarter is working, you stick with it. If it's not, you look at it, you look at whatever information sheet that you may have, and see where you may need to tweak something, change here, or you try to catch them in their tendency. I tell the guys all the time, just as we're game planning, other teams game plan too. So it's pretty much a cat and mouse game. They're trying to catch you based off your tendencies and vice versa. So You just kind of you got to feel the game out and try to catch the coordinator as you can, or catch them as you can.
So I don't want to say it. Tell me the result of the game. You say it. You let me know how. I mean, of course I watched it. Tell me what happened at when the clock hit 0-0-0.
I mean,
What
we
happened?
won 31-10. And the surprising thing about it, about our guys, they were happy we won, but they really wanted to play again. And it's one of those deals where the kids felt like they left a lot of plays out there. And I'm looking like
Mm.
they kind of reversed it on me because I'm normally the guy at the game. Like, even though we won and I know we could have played better, I'm like, man, nah, we got to play better. They're like, nah, coach. I was right there happy just standing away. He's like, man, coach, we got to play better. We got to play this again. We got to do this again. So it was an enjoyable moment, but the kids were kind of like, they celebrated, whatever they did, that night or that weekend. Shoot, by Monday, they calling me. It's like, coach, man, we got to get our respect. We won the game, but they
Oh
don't.
man, I love it.
So
I love it, young fellas.
it's
I
it
love it,
was like, man, we got to get this back. We got to get this again, and
man.
it was good to hear, man, because you got a little taste of the action, but you still want to. Y'all gonna respect us for this reason. So it was kind of good to see. They
Mm.
saw where I came from during the year when we won games, but I know we could have played 10 times better.
Yeah,
So don't leave a play out there.
man. Listen, man. That like I said, man. Watching that game, to even have my wife screaming at the screen, for you guys, and for me, it's deeper. I lived right across the street from
Yep,
campus.
yep.
Like it, like I was so happy to see you guys knock down the giant of Jackson State. Even with respect to what they're doing, because they brought a lot of
Lot of
light
light.
to black college football. They did that. Like, let's not get it twisted. It's a team effort in terms of selling the
Yep.
game, but once it got down to mano y mano, you guys got the job done, and I was just happy for your guys, and I was happy for you because the defense, man, you guys were busting them in the mouth. It was
Play a little
like
bully ball,
it was
man.
like, no, we not holding back nothing. Yeah, 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 yeah. It was beautiful, man. So Sax, so we're approaching the end part of the interview, and I want to talk a little bit about right now. I want to talk a bit about some of your experiences after the season ended. So you all had some amazing players, some that stood out a little bit
Yeah.
more than others, who are now NFL prospects. You have some guys who maybe will be NFL prospects next year. You also got an opportunity to coach in some All-Star games at postseason. Tell me about that experience. Like what? So it goes back to our original conversation. When you see these guys, even if they're not your guys, when you see these guys, do you say to yourself like, "Golly, like these dudes are huge," or "These guys are just how are they so strong and so fast?" And does it ever hit your mind like that, or do you just stay in coach mode? Like, this is what I'm doing.
I kind of say in coach mode, man, because just being blessed to be around all facets of different athletes, it's kind of like, okay, this guy's 6'4", 270 pounds playing DN. So you never get out of that mode because you're used to anything. And again, it goes back, like I said, you put me in any environment or any group of players to coach, I'm gonna come out how they're supposed to. They're gonna play the way they're supposed to play. So, but the
Yeah.
All Star game, the Senior Bowl was probably, man, it was a huge experience, man. My first practice, uh, I got Mike Tomlin standing right behind me while I'm rotating linebackers for the defense coordinator.
One of the goats, Mike
So
Tomlin.
I dropped my paper. He's like, "Here you go,
Ah,
coach." So he's like, it's like it wasn't star. It wasn't like I wasn't engaged though, like in a trance. I was like, "Oh man, it's Mike Tomlin just talking football, just talking." Uh, just being
wow.
around Coach Sala for the Jets, working with their staff, man, was an amazing experience because I've now created a network with those guys and just man, it was a blessing, man, because I'm dealing with future first round picks of this year's draft. Seeing different coaches that are pioneers in the game, Ed Ogeron, James Franklin, Mike Tomlin, like we once said, just those guys being around, man. So more connection. I got to talk some football. met some new people, got to pick some people's brains about how to get in the NFL or how to continue to develop as a coach and as a man and as a person. So that was, man, that was an amazing experience.
Wow. So so Sax, I have two questions for you, and then we're gonna wrap up. So first, and this is a question that I love to ask people. What did you learn from the COVID lockdown year?
Man, I learned a lot. As you know, we can't talk about it, but you know, it showed me a lot. But
Yes, sir.
as a person, it showed me to gain more patience. Uh, just you know, gain more patience. It gave me an opportunity to get closer to God, closer, figure out some things in my life and myself, what was harmful to me and what was good for me. Uh, and it
Yep.
actually gave me a chance to get close to my family and friends. Just being in that close spectrum of
Yep.
just the Zoom calls, the FaceTime, just having our own little parties
Yes,
on
sir.
FaceTime and Zoom. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it taught me a lot, and I became a even better cook. So
Hey, Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Sax's turkey burgers are to die for.
I think I done upped it a little bit more too.
Hey, okay. Hey, well, he's covering the spread when we get home in the summer. We gonna let him, take care of that. All right, Sax. So the last question, and I feel like this question is going to be good for our listeners. It's going to be good for you because it's all about visualization. Okay. Um, what's the dream scenario for you in coaching, family life? What's the dream scenario for you in this point in stage in your life? What do you want?
So part one of that would be for career wise would be a head coach either in the NFL or at a Power Five school. As we know, it's a cry for help. So, it's a cry of need more minorities in a lot of these places. That would be
Mm-hmm.
my end game, career wise. Outside of family, man, I want to be the best father I can be, best husband I can be, and
You don't have any kids just yet,
no kids yet, no
by the
kids
way.
yet, no kids.
Yeah. We speaking in future
Yeah.
terms right now.
So be the best father,
Yeah.
best husband I can be, man, and just be that great role model in my community, wherever my feet may lay for us. Uh,
Mm.
just keep on being the great person I am, and keep on. You never stop developing. They always say a person changes every 7 years, but continue to be the
Yeah.
genuine person I am, and growing as a person, as a father, and as a mentor, and keep on growing this profession as getting to that top level. I tell people all the time, if you're gonna do something, you want to be at the top level doing it. So NFL is my dream goal as a head coach, coordinator, and or Power Five head coach.
Hey, listen. The reason why that I asked you that is because we're about speaking
Yep.
our futures and our desires into existence. We got to speak it and then do the work.
Yep.
And I know you're not shy to the work,
Oh,
Sax.
nah, nah.
Sax, we did it, man. We got it done.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for taking your place on the couch, man. This was fun,
Hey man.
man. It took a little bit of work, Sax. We've been working today, bro.
Hey man, it took a lot of work, man. From the Wi-Fi over here to it's been a little
Oh man.
hindrance, but we got it done. We got it done, man.
Yeah, see, we had some technical difficulties. Hopefully, your fiance will forgive us for our
She's
tardiness.
already left. She
But
already went next door to a neighbor's house, so she told me just let me know when they're
okay,
done, when we're done. So
yeah. Just you can let her know we wrapping up. But Sax, man, listen, I appreciate you, bro. I love you, bro. I talked to you and Nick about this together, man. Like to have you guys on this platform is very important to me, is very special to me, and this is why I created it, to have you guys on, to have my wife on, my daughter on, my aunts, my uncles. It doesn't matter. I did this for us first.
yeah,
And then, any of the beautiful people who want to come on and be a part of this, they're more than welcome. But I want to take care of us first. And you are one of the premier talents in college football, we're in football. We're not even gonna limit you to college football. You one of the premier coaching talents in football right now, and the fact that you decided to come here and kick it with us, man. Hey, listen, man, I can't ask for much more, man. I appreciate it,
Man, you
brother.
know I had to come stop through on the couch, man. You know I've enjoyed it, man. Even from podcast one to now, man. I'm happy to be a part of it, man.
No doubt. Sax, before you get off, man, give some of our young listeners a little, just if they want to be athletes or if they want to be football players, just give them a little something about what you expect from a young athlete.
Man, just a hard worker, man. Sometimes don't look at it on the outside framework of yourself, what everybody else is doing. Control what you can control, which is yourself. Just continue to push yourself, and like I tell my guys, what you put into it is what you get out of it. If I'm not giving everything I got every day, I'm not gonna get the results that I want. So continue to if I'm giving 100%, put 100% in the bank or in the tank, I'm gonna get the benefits of everything that's coming out. So just continue to grind it and control what you can control, which is the schoolwork, my workouts and games, to give it everything I can.
Hello. There you go, young folks. Listen, to all our young listeners, if you want to do what Coach Saxon has done, if you want to do what I've done, he just laid the blueprint down for you. And he's a coach now. So that's what he's looking for. Ladies and gentlemen, we have done it. We got another episode of The Couch. I got to share it with my brother, Johnathan Saxon. Before we get off this show, well, first, before I get to the jewels, Sax, tell folks where they can reach you. Tell folks if they want to follow you or get at you, where can they find you?
My coaching page, Coach Sax, SAX72 on Instagram and Twitter. My personal page on Instagram is JSax72, and I can be found on Facebook as Johnathan Saxon. That's where you can find me at.
Hey, there you go. If you guys are interested in reaching out to Sax, go follow, go like and share all of his stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode on The Couch with Rob Fields. Today was amazing. I'm so happy to share the couch with my brother. We had a great conversation. And before I get off the episode, I have to drop that jewel. Be good to somebody today. It costs nothing. Be good to someone today. It costs nothing. I'm your host, Rob Fields. This has been another amazing episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.